Now, this is what I call a little bit of synchronicity. I just recently posted a video regarding Clyde Lewis's prediction that there could be a false flag. It could be blamed on ISIS or terrorists, or it could be an attack, in my opinion, possibly coming from China. So I'm not the only one that for years has been concerned about Portland coming under attack. Now, before I get into this headline from the OregonLive.com website, and it says, would you survive a nuclear war in Portland? That's the question that it asks. So we're getting prepared for nuclear war. I've been warning you for years, and I'm letting you know now that a lot of those things that some of you and others may have considered crazy, notice how it's coming out in the mainstream. Now, a couple things that I want to talk about before we begin. Top Off 4 took place in 2007. It was a drill ran by Homeland Security. Now there's a former Homeland Security employee that's going to come and work for the Transportation Division in Portland. There's a lot of big government people that are getting involved in Portland and Portland politics and the direction that Portland takes. Even China. It came out that the current mayor, Mr. Wheeler, took money from China, or that China tried to give him money, and it came out in the news. There were talks of corruption, and then he said, no, I turned down the money. China's been whining and dining politicians in the Northwest, from the state level to the Portland area. So as a preface, there are major transformations taking place, and Top Off 4 was a drill in which they essentially practiced shutting down the city, and they simulated like a nuke. They didn't set off an explosion per se in the downtown area. They actually set off some dynamite over outside of downtown near the Jansen Beach area. They blew up actually a TriMet bus or set off some dynamite. And then they played their drill, their role, the drill, the response drill, the radiation, the decontamination, the shutting down the city, because it was a drill preparing for a dirty bomb attack. In reality, I was saying at the time, it was really getting Homeland Security close to the Portland police and the government of Portland. And then what I also discovered is that while they were working to keep people afraid of terrorists and people from the Middle East, they're also running a concurrent drill. Take notes. Take notes of what I'm saying. And that drill was called Vigilant Shield. I'm going to go back into the archives and actually upload some of my early reports on Top Off 4, and it's going to show you how relevant this is in 2016, what I was covering in 2007. Even a radio broadcast that I did then called WTPRN, or We the People Radio Network, now called American Freedom Radio, run by Danny Romero. The reports that I did on Top Off 4, and type in Top Off 4 into YouTube and my name, and check out the information that I put out there. They're running multiple drills at once. So China and Russia are running a war game drill in 2007. And then within weeks, they have a war game drill in aerospace called Vigilant Shield, where they're literally intercepting attacks from overseas attacks like China and Russia. But on the ground, they don't want people actually thinking about that. Oh no, the whole Homeland Security thing is about preparing, so they told the public, for an Al-Qaeda attack, also known as a false flag terror attack to occur in Portland. So going from Top Off 4 to the year after that, covering the black helicopters that swarmed the city, which was a separate drill that was run by the U.S. or Navy Special Warfare Unit, also known as the Night Stalkers, which Clyde Lewis also covered and wrote an article about. Okay. Fast forwarding to other things to occur in Portland, the underwear bomber, or not the underwear bomber, but the Christmas tree, alleged attempted Christmas tree attack, where the FBI actually went out and got a Somalian and taught him how to blow up a backpack, and that was what got Portland back in the JTTF, Joint Terrorism Task Force. More federal control over Portland, all this building and building and building. Well, Clyde Lewis, on this channel, go back and check out what was uploaded a few days ago, made a prediction in 2008 where he drew concern to the Operation Blackjack comic strip, depicting not a year, but a date of June 22nd, and multiple U.S. cities coming under attack, and then us going into martial law and the New World Order. And even though, they were calling it the NAU, and it was done many years back, it seems to be some sort of fear-mongering predictive programming of some kind. And so now that I've really prepped you with the background information, and the link is down below, the headline from the Oregonian is, drum roll, please, in the land of the zombie apocalypse, would you survive a nuclear war in Portland? And this almost just gave me chills. And also just so much is coming out that Portland, the city, it's become so popular. Really, as I've said for years, before the mainstream did, it's very vulnerable to attack. and physical invasion as an entry point, and it's at risk of being a point where bodies could be leaving by force this country, along with other places, other ports, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Long Beach, San Diego, Seattle, Washington. If you can find the street where you live on the map above, your dead meat, reads the article. When a nuclear bomb hits Portland, that is. Donald Trump's recent Twitter declaration that the U.S. should expand its nuclear arsenal has made people nervous, leading to a renowned interest in a quirky little website called Would I Survive a Nuke? So apparently you can type in where you live and see if it gives you a positive rating. And by the way, I've also seen other reports in the last week responding to this new Cold War, which is really a hot war for the people of the Middle East that I feel are being exterminated by both China and Russia. Although the people of China and Russia and the people of the U.S. are in denial of this. They are asking the question, would your area survive a nuke, or where are the best places to go? And they're not really giving you solutions. They're telling you like the North Pole. They're telling you like Antarctica as if that's inhabitable. It's really an insult. These people aren't the people to be giving anyone advice on prepping for this. Not if they haven't been concerned for years. Just because something's trending, you don't just write an article to hijack the key words. How do you really begin thinking about answering the question yourself? How do you survive a nuke? I would recommend subscribing to this channel for new listeners. Going back to the article, the answer, spoiler alert, is no. Portland wouldn't survive. Whether Portland is hit by a dinosaur-ending meteor or a peacekeeper bomb, 2 of the 6 destruction options, you're not going to make it. The unscientific website, by offering up colorful concentric circles stretching out from the blast point, does show whether you'll be incinerated in your boots or simply have the flesh sheared from your bones. At any rate, you'll be wishing that New Yorker magazine promised earthquake instead, because the earthquake risk of the 9.0 is the other major threat that Portland faces. The site's creator is a Northwest guy, a software developer named Britton Matthews, who lives outside Seattle. See, I think a lot of people in the Pacific Northwest, some of them are visionaries, some of them, whether they would call themselves sensitive or not, some people are sensitive to certain vibes. That's why there's a certain amount of comic book art and apocalypse art in those areas, I believe, because people are actually tapping into something that's actually going to happen in the future. It's a walking graveyard. It's a future graveyard. It's like something out of a cover of a Megadeth Peace Sells, but Who's Buying album. That's us. That's our future. Yeah, it shows just the UN and this little Archon thing on the cover. Really, it's a lot of West Coast cities as far as I'm concerned. And it's a stage-managed war, and a lot of women are going to be hunted by what I call the headhunters once we go back and we're thrown back to these dark ages. And I see only evidence that it's coming. And Portland could be one of the hardest hit areas, being the high concentration of single women without actual male protectors, or male protectors with the ability to actually, and focus and motivation and drive to fight off not only invading armies, but gangs that would be going from area to area. And this is not something that I believe is far-fetched. And so a lot of people are at the entry level of this. They're not even thinking about what society will deteriorate into once money goes away and the oldest profession comes back. You can check out my earlier warning to the people of Portland, and it's 2007. Man has dream vision of Chinese invasion or Russian Chinese attack. I'll link to it. And you can watch it after this video. I want you to know that I talked about this in 2007. And I want you to know that despite that, I suffered harshly in Portland and even to this day, trying to get the word out and try to show people, folks, just because I don't like your current president-elect doesn't mean that I'm some hateful person. I am generally trying to warn you and have a track record of doing this for many, many years, because I feel that this attack is coming. Living in Portland, I'll tell you what, just looking up at the sky, I could just imagine the missiles impacting the buildings and just a massive flight to the east. So there's a reason why people like this author in Seattle are thinking about this, because there's a reason. And the people around the world, especially people in safer places, they're going to be a lot safer than these leftist cities. So, people have been really quick to judge those that protested against Trump. Hey, think about living in Portland. You would be more vulnerable to a worst case scenario than the people in the heartland. And that's my opinion. So the link is down below. Check out my past work, Top Off 4. And I will continue to keep you updated.